Hello and welcome to the Fanatics of Film, and my name is Ben. Thanks so much for joining me here. I'm going to talk about my favorite thing in the world, or at least what used to be my favorite thing in the world, and that is Star Wars. So, anyway, we're getting into this thing here. So, on this channel, we've talked extensively about the Favreau series. It's something that I've been thoroughly excited about for quite some time. Something that if you don't even know who Jon Favreau is, I mean, he was the guy who directed the first Iron Man film. He pretty much gave birth. He was pregnant and gave birth to the MCU. He was one of the engineers behind that whole thing, one of the producers who pretty much made all of that started that whole thing to happen. So he has a long, good relationship with Disney. I first came to know who he was when he jumped on the scene with his 90s cult hit by the name of Swingers, and that's actually a great film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really, really good. And he directs it, and he's the main character in it. So, great 90s flick. Finally, they're revealing details of what's going to be launching into this Disney streaming service, which I'm reluctant to pay for, depending on how much it is, etc. All these things. Star Wars Jon Favreau TV series details have been revealed. Favreau will pen the script and executive produce the live-action series from the forthcoming Disney streaming service. Well, he actually already has. He's been doing it. He has about 8 or 9 episodes already written, and that's why they're filming, or at least starting to film now. Disney's forthcoming streaming service won't launch until late 2019, but details surrounding one of its most highly anticipated TV series have emerged. Jon Favreau, who is set to write and executive produce an original live-action scripted Star Wars TV series, on Wednesday revealed that his new show will be called The Mandalorian. After the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travails of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. Favreau shared in a post on the Instagram account. So yeah, this is obviously, it's going to be definitely more cowboy, kind of lone gunman type thing. Cowboys and just kind of being out in the middle of space cowboy stuff. So, and I'm sure Favreau will do it well. Just as long as he doesn't. Well, I'm sure he won't create a Mary Sue character, but honestly, if it's another female protagonist, I'm not going to pay for that. I'm not going to pay for that. If they do another female protagonist, I will not buy it. Disney is developing multiple live-action Star Wars TV series for its upcoming streaming service, which is designed to rival Netflix. The platform will be the exclusive home for Marvel feature films and original series, as well as Pixar and other Lucasfilm properties. So far, only Favreau's involvement in one of the Star Wars TV series has been revealed. Wednesday's announcement offers a closer look at just where the new Star Wars TV series fits in the franchise. For his part, Favreau is no stranger to the Star Wars universe. The actor-director played roles in the animated series. Yeah, he was several characters in the Clone Wars, as well as he was also in Rebels. He did some audio in Rebels. It's about time that they finally did a live-action Star Wars series with technology now these days and their abilities. I mean, that's what they've been waiting for. They've been waiting for this thing for a long time, and I read up on this 5 years ago, and they were just waiting for the technology to get better so that they could still do these things, still do these incredible action sequences and use the effects and be able to do world building with on a smaller budget, on a television budget, But this will probably seems to be replacing the films, or at least I guess this will be coming out right after see. So late 2019. So I guess it'll be interesting to see, because that's going to be so the 2019, you know, we have right in December, that's when episode 9's coming out, so they're probably going to be launching their service right at that time. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, if Star Wars fans actually are excited about this thing still and jump on the bandwagon on the streaming service and see the movie. So there'll be two things to really kind of weigh out, and it'll be of course Disney will never give us those numbers, and that's one of those things that Disney will be able to keep from us. They'll be able to keep from us how much money they're making on their streaming service. So that'll be interesting it would be interesting to find out. We probably will never know that. So that is something to take into consideration here, because we won't know how much they're actually making from their streaming service. So that'll be an advantage to them. Okay, and so it does say that they're developing multiple live-action Star Wars TV series for its upcoming series. So can you do one about Han, Luke, and Leia right after Return of the Jedi? Probably not. It's a damn shame that they won't do that, but that's just my opinion. So Sabine, so the Mandalorians that come into my first thought on this, the Mandalorians that come into my thought process, the Mandalorians that I think of are, of course, Boba Fett, and we have Jango Fett, and then of course there is Sabine Wren and her whole family and all that's happening there. So we will probably see Sabine, probably an older Sabine, obviously. Jon Favreau caused a frenzy of galactic proportions Wednesday as he quietly revealed details about his upcoming Star Wars television series via his Instagram feed. While key info like the cast and a release date are still unknown, Favreau offered up enough details to chew on until he feels inclined to show us the main character's armor or the face or whatever alien he ends up voicing. We're assuming he'll voice a character because that's how Favreau rolls. First things first, the title makes one thing very clear. This is a show about a Mandalorian. The humanoid race has a big tie in the Star Wars galaxy thanks to Boba Fett's debut in the Star Wars Holiday Special and his subsequent appearances in Empire Strikes Back. His cool look, designed by Ralph McQuarrie and Joe Johnston, suggested a character of intrigue and prime importance. In the end, he only mattered insofar as getting Han Solo, Harrison Ford, back to Tatooine, where he learned new definitions of pain and suffering while being digested in the depths of the all-powerful Sarlacc. Now, according to recent canon, at least, it's not really that. He's at least it's possible that he got out. At least his helmet got out unscathed, and someone found his helmet, at least on Tatooine. So for whatever that's worth. That he may have been able to get out, and there are many fan theories about that. It's one of those things that they probably won't answer for several years. We probably won't even know if he survived or how he survived, and all these things. Probably won't know for a long time, which is a darn shame. So, but fans wanted more from the character, and it begat an entire culture of ritualized warriors featured in subsequent novels, comics, games, and Knights of the Old Republic, and codified into the current canon via the Star Wars Clone Wars and Rebels animated series. Fett's story, at least in canon, extends backwards thanks to the prequel trilogy and the plotline featuring his clone father, Jango Fett. And actually, in the original Legends novels, they're actually really kind of crazy warriors. I mean, like, a Mandalorian could be like any race or any kind of alien, because what they do is they like take over entire worlds, and like it's kind of like the same type of thing as like Thanos, where you get Thanos and he kind of slaughtering like half the civilization and then just basically taking it over, and then those people, all those beings become Mandalorians, and that was the original. That's what happens in the original canon, the original Legends, which was kind of a crazy thing. It's very very medieval in that regard, like just taking over an entire civilization and being genocidal, but in featuring a Mando as the lead character, Favreau is tapping into some of the oldest and most beloved Star Wars iconography. But in featuring a Mandalorian as the lead character, Favreau is tapping into some of the oldest and most beloved Star Wars iconography, not related to the Jedi. Mandalorian cosplayers must be thrilled. In his description of the character, Favreau refers to the new Mandalorian as a lone gunfighter, which sets the character apart from Fett's bounty hunting almost immediately. Nonetheless, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that it sets him apart. Well, maybe, I guess, but it wasn't Boba Fett that? Boba Fett was a lone gun, that's what he was. He was kind of a bounty hunter. That's a very cowboy, on his own type thing. Nonetheless, some will assume the show might have something to do with Fett. As discussed earlier, his unceremonious end led to the whole Mando culture in the Star Wars universe and in real life. But it also led to an ongoing storyline in the pages of the Dark Horse comics, Star Wars comic books, in which Han not only faced an imposter Fett, but learned that the original did in fact escape the Sarlacc. Those comics no longer meet kind of canonicity muster, but that imposter, Jodo Kast, could re-enter canon as the lead of the show. So that's really interesting, yeah. So like a Mandalorian or a Boba Fett imposter, someone who basically takes his armor and becomes Boba Fett, just stealing his armor, and everybody thinks it's Boba Fett. Well, it is possibly, except for one thing. Favreau previously mentioned the series will feature all brand new characters, so Gunslinger, as well call him or her for the moment, will presumably have no immediate ties to an established Star Wars stories. Of course, that could always change in subsequent seasons, as we later find the Sabine Wren, of course, in the Wren clan, as their mother, or they were cast all along. Star Wars, after all, does not have habit of making the endless reaches of space a very intimate family affair. So, I hope that they create this in the same type of thing, like a Game of Thrones, because that's the way that Dave Filoni was painting it. He was painting this picture kind of like that, as like a Game of Thrones thing. In addition to Favreau, who will write and execute. In addition to Favreau, who will write and executive produce the series, talent behind the cameras include Dave Filoni, of course, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, who will direct the first episode. So that is pretty awesome. So they are working together on all of this. This is really exciting. Additional episodic directors include Deborah Claw, who directed Jessica Jones, which I actually really enjoyed. I enjoyed both seasons of Jessica Jones. That's some of my favorite Marvel stuff on Netflix. Rick Famuyiwa, if you haven't seen Dope, that movie is incredible. If you have not seen Dope, go see that now. It's so good. Famuyiwa, Rick Famuyiwa. He's an extraordinary director. I absolutely loved Dope. I thought it was so good. One of my favorite films of that year. I think it was 2016. I could be wrong. That was so good. Oh my gosh, that's really exciting to me. Wow, I did not know that. That's really, really awesome. Bryce Dallas Howard. He was actually on the slate to do the Flash movie. Rick Famuyiwa was. Famuyiwa. Rick Famuyiwa. Bryce Dallas Howard, Soulmates, I haven't seen that. Taika Waititi. Okay, so he's the one who did Thor Ragnarok, so that was, and I actually enjoyed that a lot. I thought Thor Ragnarok, although it was like on the extraordinarily over-the-top comedy at times, it was still fun. It will be executive produced by Favreau, Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, and Colin Wilson. Karen Gilchrist will serve as co-executive producer. The New Republic era, so this is all stuff that's post Return of the Jedi. Now, something to also consider, especially, is that in canon right now, it took several years after the second Death Star was destroyed. It took several years for them to take out the rest of the Empire. The Empire was this large, which is, of course, if you're going to take over a whole galaxy, you got to have a large organization. You got to have a large empire to take over the entire galaxy. You've got to be able to have your strongholds over different sectors of this giant place. So that made sense in that they take them about a couple years for that to happen. So that's something to also consider, that you might have remnants or people like, ex-Nazis type of thing. Like you have people left over from, ex-generals or other people that are beings that were in the Empire, So something to also think about. And so, okay, so Favreau's gunslinger will roam the spaceways after the fall of the Empire, but before the rise of the First Order, as he put it, the character will inhabit a part of space far from the authority of the New Republic. So obviously, just like being on the Outer Rim. So once again, the Outer Rim is the norm. So that's what the old school was. So, while Chuck Wendig's Star Wars Aftermath trilogy made the phrase New Republic canon in the current Disney version of Star Wars, seeing it used in connection with The Mandalorian brings a certain thrill to the Star Wars fan who grew up with reading the Expanded Universe novels or comics of the 1990s and early 2000s. Initiated by Timothy Zahn's 1991 novel Heir to the Empire, which was extraordinary. The Expanded Universe's main setting was the era following Return of the Jedi, in which a New Republic, led by Mon Mothma and Leia, attempted to rebuild the galactic government that stood for thousands of years and protect it from other would-be emperors. No easy task, particularly with the Imperial remnant trying to recreate the Galactic Empire according to the designs of various Moffs and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Within that framework, hundreds of stories were told about Luke rebuilding the Jedi, Han and Leia's children following in their family's footsteps, and the threats from beyond the galaxy trying to take part in the New Republic, which of course were the Yuuzhan Vong and the Chiss. And apparently that's a rumor that Rian Johnson's trilogy is supposed to be about the Chiss and the Yuuzhan Vong. So, anyway, for whatever that's worth. Initiated by Timothy Zahn's 1991 novel Heir to the Empire, the Expanded Universe's majority setting was the era following Return of the Jedi, in which a New Republic led by Mon Mothma and Leia attempted to rebuild the galactic government that stood for thousands of years and protect it from other would-be emperors. No easy task, particularly with the Imperial remnant trying to create the Galactic Empire, according to the designs of various Moffs and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Within that framework, hundreds of stories were told about Luke rebuilding the Jedi, Han and Leia's children following in their family's footsteps, and threats from beyond the galaxy trying to shake apart the New Republic. Of course, and they're all really great stories. So, of course, all of that material was set aside from when Disney began its own post-Return of the Jedi era with Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and Wendig's novels. In fact, some EU fans are still quite raw about the changes. Nonetheless, it is the era many fans still want to see realized on screen. As a period of both reconstruction and decline, it offers a number of dramatic hooks for seasons to come, even if the gunslinger is staying clear of any direct entanglements with the Republic. Which presumably means we'll be seeing a certain hive of scum and villainy, crime on the Outer Rim, never took much notice of the changing political landscape in the core systems anyway. This article is freaking awesome. I am blown away with this article. It's really good. This article is by Eric Amaya of Rotten Tomatoes. I salute you, Eric. Really, really good stuff. Wow, I'm going to link this in the description, and he hasn't taken a shot at the fans or anything yet. This is pretty awesome. Where and when can we see it? Though it is still unclear when the series will premiere, we can make a few educated guesses. The show will debut on Disney's as yet unnamed streaming service. That platform is expected to debut sometime in 2019 following the end of the studio's streaming contract with Netflix and company's merger with the 20th Century Fox, all of which suggests a late 2019 launch. And as it happens, sets are already being built for the show, which suggests most of it will be in the can well before the service is ready to launch next year, while presuming Star Wars television series needs less post-production time than the feature film cousins. So yeah, I mean, I could see it having a little bit less, but not very much. If they want to world build and make it cinematic like Game of Thrones is, like in that ability, I could see it. You know, they definitely should be working towards that. So anyway, that's definitely something that they want to be making sure to do. And as it happens, sets are already being built for the show, which, okay. In fact, the look and feel of Star Wars live-action television series may be the biggest question mark of all. The various animated series all brought a unique feel to the established Star Wars iconography, but a live-action program will have to maintain a certain visual consistency with the films. Doing that on a budget while bringing a slice of Star Wars Galaxy to television in an episodic format may be as great an adventure as anything Favreau plans for his Gunslinger. So yeah, of course, this is like I was saying before, this is something that's very important and has been extremely apparent and always a continuous thing that has plagued them for a long time. The reason, I mean, George Lucas had an idea for a live action TV series 15 years ago, or he was going to do it in 2000, so almost 20 years ago he was going to do it, and it was slated, they were planning on trying to do something in the 2000s, and it was something that they were trying to do, but all the producers were saying, we got to wait till the production costs go down. We got to wait for technology to get better. And so they just had to wait on technology before they could tell these stories. They wanted to world build. They wanted it to take place on Coruscant. Imagine recreating Coruscant in a television budget at that time. No way. They would not have been able to do it. That's something that would never have been done in such a way. So this it's finally here, and the budget's here, and that's the thing that we have to consider and think about, and always constantly be curious about. So again, this is just something to be considering here. I'm excited about the idea that this could actually be a Star Wars Game of Thrones type of thing because of its rich resource. You've got the rich source material of the Mandalorians. You have all these things, all these, this, if Favreau is reading the Legends books, which I hope he is, or at least has skimmed through them or read about them or understanding kind of what's going on, I'm sure they'll be great. I just hope that I am thoroughly excited for this. This is going to be something that might fix Star Wars. It might fix it to a certain degree. They still have to fix Luke for me. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Are you excited for this? Is this something? Do you want Boba Fett to be in this? Do you care? Yeah, this article is amazing. It's the Rotten Tomatoes article, and it's by Eric Amaya.